Hi there, my name's Simon and welcome to another episode of the Maserati Guy. In today's episode we're going to be looking at a very complicated subject, and that is the issue of insurance write-offs and total losses. Now this is something that has been dear to my heart for the last couple of months because of the flood that happened to the R8 and the C63. I'll put links up above here if you want to revisit those videos. So one of the most complicated things to work out is how an insurance company treats a car that has suffered substantial damage. And something that I didn't understand, I come from a legal background. I can generally understand this kind of complex stuff quite easily, but this one did my head in, and it took me a long time to actually understand how this whole system works. So very simply, let's start with a definition. So total loss is a defined term. It's basically a sum, a mathematical sum that you carry out in order to work out whether a vehicle is a total loss. So let's take an example vehicle that we'll use, which is worth or insured for, say, $50,000 market value. Say it's $50,000 value. So it's involved in an accident or has some damage, and it's sent off to be assessed, and the assessment comes back that says that it will require $20,000 worth of repairs. So the insurance company looks at that, and they look at the amount that it's insured for, and they will also look at the amount that they could get for that car if they didn't repair it. So let's say that they had it assessed, a salvage assessment, and the salvage value of that car was $20,000. So we have the cost of repairs being $20,000, the salvage value being $20,000, and the market value being $50,000. So if the repair cost plus salvage value is less than the market value, it is not a total loss. In the second example, if the salvage value is $40,000, then it's more economical for the insurance company to sell that car at a salvage auction for $40,000 when they pay the guy out in total for the $50,000. They've only spent $10,000 rather than repairing it for $20,000. You see what I'm saying? So if the repairs plus salvage value is greater than the market value, that's a total loss, because then it's cheaper for the insurance company to sell the salvage vehicle and pay out the insurance completely rather than spend the money to repair it. That definition out the way. The next thing is that in New South Wales, where I am, we have I'm actually in the Australian Capital Territory right now, but New South Wales is just across the border. And so in New South Wales, where my cars are registered, there is a statutory kind of regime which was brought in to stop the rebirthing of vehicles. So what rebirthing is when a seriously damaged vehicle gets sold at a salvage auction. It's total loss by the insurance company. It's sold at a salvage auction, and then dodgy brothers go and buy it. They repair it cheaply, and then they sell it back into the market. Now, not only is this a bit of a magnet for criminal enterprises, but also it puts a lot of really dangerous vehicles back on the road. So this regime was put in place in order to stop that rebirthing. In New South Wales, the rebirthing laws can be split into two halves. If a vehicle is deemed a total loss, it will be a statutory write-off and can only be re-registered in very limited situations. If, however, the vehicle is not a total loss according to the formula, then the vehicle will still be deemed a statutory write-off if there is non-repairable damage and the insurer has chosen not to repair the vehicle. The insurer has the choice as to whether to repair it or not, even if it has suffered non-repairable damage. Now, non-repairable damage, I'll just bring it up here, is particular situations where a car has suffered damage that's so severe that it should never be re-registered. So fire, flooding up to a certain level above the inner sill, stripped of interior parts, structural damage, things like that. They're all defined in clause 99 of the Road Transport (Vehicle Registration) Regulation 2017. Now the problem comes when an insurance company decides not to repair a vehicle even when it's not a total loss. Because that's what the insurance company can do. They can choose whether they want to repair it or not. So if they choose not to repair a car which is not a total loss, then it could end up back on the market again and being repaired and re-registered. So they have included this definition of non-repairable damage. Now, the issue for me with this is that the R8, my Audi R8, which was flooded, suffered non-repairable damage according to this definition. The vehicle's occupant cabin had been inundated with water, whether fresh or salt water, to a level exceeding the level of the inner door sill. And my immediate understanding, or my immediate feeling about this, was that if a vehicle has suffered non-repairable damage, it would have to be placed on the written off vehicles register as a statutory write-off and never registered again. And that's not the case. And it's taken me a long time to work that out. So what actually happens is that this definition of non-repairable damage only applies where an insurer has decided not to repair a vehicle. So the converse of that, trying to clarify this a bit, is that even though a vehicle has suffered non-repairable damage, an insurer can still choose to repair it if it's not a total loss. So in the case of my Audi R8, the cost of repairs plus the salvage value is much less than the market value or the sum insured. It's not even close, it's not even ballpark. So there's no way that this would be deemed a total loss based on that calculation. That said, an insurer can choose not to repair it. Now, if my insurer chose not to repair that Audi and to deem it a total loss, then this definition of non-repairable damage would apply to it, and it would not be able to be re-registered in New South Wales. It's kind of weird, because if the insurer decides not to repair it, it can't be re-registered because it suffered non-repairable damage, but the insurance company itself can repair non-repairable damage, and that's the key point. An insurance company can choose to repair a vehicle even though it suffered non-repairable damage, if it's not a total loss. If it's a total loss, then it has to be written off. So that's the situation. It's really complicated. Feel free to hit me up with questions. I might be able to answer it a little bit better. So in the case of my Audi, it has suffered non-repairable damage according to this definition, but it will be repaired. So it puts me in a funny position, because the insurance company is right to make that determination. But I have a car which will never have the same value as it had before the flood, and that loss of value, diminished value loss, if you like, is not something that Australian insurance companies will cover you for. So that's something you just have to wear. It's kind of bizarre in some ways. In the US, they have a different system. Diminished value can be claimed on some insurance policies. So I'm looking at this on the positive side and saying that, okay, well, I'm going to get the car back. It's going to be repaired, but I guess there are some advantages to it in the sense that the interior will be completely brand new. It will have new seats, it will have new door panels, new carpets. I mean, everything inside will be immaculate because it's all brand new. So there are going to be some advantages. And of course I get the car back, which is great because I love it. I love it. It's just, it kind of leaves you with a slightly sour taste in your mouth, because you know that when you come to sell the vehicle, you're going to be pinged for that diminished value loss, and there's nothing you can do about it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, because I might be able to help you out. Certainly, I have a better understanding than I did. Thanks very much for watching. If you did enjoy this, don't forget to smash that like. It'd be really great if you'd consider subscribing and hit that notification bell. It really does help me to make more videos, and I want to try and hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Maserati Guy 2017, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.